That's unfortunate, Alice. Tom Shattuck and my lovely wife, Alice Shattuck, will take you through the adventures politically, culturally, and specifically in radio of the day. So before we get into this, if you're looking, Dave Cullinane, who's a friend of mine and who's the producer of the Kirk Minahan Show, has found another damning piece of audio, and it has to do with a company that we're not going to disparage, obviously, for obvious reasons, else. And actually, a guy who I've only met a couple of times, and was always a very nice guy, Chris Curtis, the producer of the Greg Hill Show in the morning over there on WEEI. And the subject today was nips, was the little plastic, was these guys right here. I just have this as a prop to show you. I'm not going to do anything with it. And it's Dave Cullinane. I don't know who the woman is. Greg Hill and maybe another producer. No, not Cullinane. Chris Curtis. And the one point they're talking about nips, and this happens.
It begs the question: top 5 nips.
Oh yes, that's a great one.
Because Dr. McGillicuddy's, I think, is number 1 or 2. Screwball also up there.
I'd probably go Mina Kimes
and Fireball. Like, I'm not taking a tequila.
You're right about the McGillicuddy, though, but do you like the purple or the root beer?
So the problem is that Mina Kimes is an Asian, Korean American journalist.
Yeah, football journalist.
And Chris Curtis said, obviously, when talking about her,
he named her as one of his favorite nips.
Right, nips, which is a derogatory slur for, I believe, Japanese people. It's probably got big during World War II. I assume it got big during World War II.
What's accuracy when you're busy being racist, honey?
Well, but here's the thing. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. I don't know what, I mean.
And he's like smiling, and yes, the other guy, I assume that's Greg Hill, like grinned back at him, okay, like, haha. Like, how are you not going, like,
the others pretended not to hear him, because it's like.
Well, pretended not to hear him audio wise, but definitely looked over and smiled at him, like, made a face like he got the joke.
Well, the problem is, what the hell is he thinking? He's been in radio long enough. Were you kidding me?
Right.
That seems like the kind of thing somebody does. That's pulling the lever on the suicide vest. That's a real easy way to get out of there. So now this has become a huge firestorm. There's 407,000 views on this one that I'm seeing right here. And so did you say that that there was a statement by Odyssey?
The company told Chad Finn at the Globe that he meant Mila Kunis and not Mina Kimes. Mila Kunis is...
Was somebody in particular quoted from the company?
I don't know. That's just what Chad Finn tweeted.
Their Odyssey told him that?
Yes.
Okay.
The Odyssey corporate said that. That he meant Mila Kunis. Yeah, and that therefore, because she's not an Asian woman, she's a Ukrainian Jewish woman. This was purely a sexual comment referencing a body part and not an anti-Asian slur.
Which, of course, would also still be problematic to objectify a woman.
Yeah, but I think they're making a gamble that's a safer.
That's the lesser charge.
Yeah.
Which is...
That, like, it's sports radio. Sometimes they objectify women a little bit. Right. What are you going to do?
Well, I know sometimes they used to objectify women. Those days are over.
Well, so, I mean, yes.
My feeling is this, is that obviously I've got a conflict of interest here. I work for Odyssey currently, so I don't know. My feeling is this, is that Mila Kunis is not what he meant to say.
Well, I mean, first of all, she's a much more famous person than Mina Kimes. So the idea, do you know what I'm saying? You don't say like, I said something bad about Greg Hill, but I meant to say George Harrison. Like, it would be like a bizarre thing, like because you don't mix the two up, like it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, right, and also, do you, maybe something's happening with my audio here. Also, when you think of Mila Kunis, is the first thing you think of famously known for her breasts?
No.
I mean, I think she's got breasts. Other than that, that's not a breast thing. It's not like who's Kate, the model that I want to.
Kate Upton.
Kate Upton. It applies with Kate Upton. She's a breast woman. Paige Spiranak, very breasty, right? These are the people who are. That doesn't just work. That is tough. And
so now that sports journalist Mina Kimes has changed her profile picture to Mila Kunis.
You are kidding me.
Her Twitter profile picture, yes.
You are kidding me.
Yes.
That is brilliantly funny.
Yes.
That is great. Oh wow. I don't know Mina Kimes, but I from hearing that, I like her. That is funny. This, my goodness.
I mean, because
what a refreshing response that it wasn't something about the harm to people's,
I think she's pretty lefty based on her.
Yeah, but
tweet,
that's a pretty good sense of humor thing to and playful way to respond. That is great. So I've been on the road with the kids, so I've missed how this stuff has been developing. Mm-hmm. That is remarkable. If you didn't get in trouble for it, I would ask Cullinane to come on with us.
Yeah, I think he has a lot going on this week. I think.
Yeah, he does.
Should probably let him concentrate.
That is wow. So, but I just don't understand. Like, why, Chris? Why? The first thing
it seems like an odd choice to me.
Let me tell you, Alice. I actually in Connecticut, I actually made purchase of a nip, and was reticent to ask the guy at the Packy for one because I wasn't sure if that's what they called them there. And it's such an obvious...
have one of those tiny little bottles of alcohol, if you please, sir.
Right, because some words like some people
it's
are
like
moving
regional.
Yeah, but like in the word Jimmy's, on ice cream is suddenly like a race. So I get nervous if I was on
Picnic.
the air. Is that a racist?
Some people think picnic is racist.
Oh, so if I was on the air, I would be the moment somebody said, "What are your favorite nips to drink?" I would have my mind's lawyers gathered in my head.
You'd be saying, "What's a nip? What do you possibly mean by that? I've never heard that term in my life."
I would be saying we are going so far away from anything Asian right now. In my mind, it's the same way the guy from the Herald got in trouble for having a thing with Obama having watermelon toothpaste. I'm like, in my mind, if I was saying, okay, Obama's going to have toothpaste, we need the flavor. My mind's lawyers would all be in the boardroom saying, let me tell you the flavors it ain't. And that would be one of them. I can't imagine. I mean, I would never. You've got to be thinking about that always. You don't want to self-cancel that easily. It's amazing. And I can't believe they actually. Well, first of all, why are they standing by their guy so much? I mean, they could save good salary. He's like the assistant program director or something, I think. I don't want him to get fired, but I'm just thinking, I know these companies that I'm just surprised. They've had, it can only be that. So you were thinking earlier that it wasn't, maybe it wasn't just that?
Well, okay, so you said like, check out this thing. I went and watched it. And I said like, is it possible, before hearing what they said it was, the Mila Kunis thing, I said, is it possible he meant like possibly anatomy? But I wasn't, but it seems like an odd gamble to make anyway, to be like, well, he was just being sexist, not racist. Like, it just seems, but it's all bad choices, I think, for them.
Come on, Chris. Come on, Chris. You know better than that. You can't. I just like, part of me
begs the question, top 5 nips.
Oh yes, that's a great.
See, Greg Hill. Greg Hill's not
because
he's thinking of types of alcohol right now.
Number 1 or 2.
I would say
also up there.
I'd probably go Mina Kimes.
And Fireball.
Fireball.
Like I'm not taking a tequila.
You're right about the McGillicuddy
Kimes. Oh, and the other producers like giggling still. Everybody in there is guilty by association because they were there.
Because they didn't go. Excuse me.
Oh man, what a thing! You gotta choose something else, guys. Oh.
Well, hasn't EEI been through some of this?
Yes, they have. Fourier got in trouble for doing a takeoff on an Asian guy. Are you able to read the Chad Finn thing from where you are?
I don't know if the actual article, he said it would be up soon, but it wasn't up the last time I looked, but I can go look and see if it's there.
Yeah, it says. Oh. Hey, wait a second. Chad Finn blocks me.
Oh no.
What's this crap? Who the hell would block me? I'm dang it. Can you look up Chad Finn, see if you got it?
I mean, I'm not seeing the I'm not seeing his
it's up.
Story. It's up where?
Oh, it's up. Boston EEI's Chris Curtis uses ethnic slur during the show. That's Boston.com. That's got to be the Herald has it as well. Boston.com.
Everybody has
Globe's got it as well. Here's Chad Finn. Chris Curtis, an executive producer and on-air personality on the EEI Greg Hill show, used a racist slur, gulpy, during Tuesday's program. Although it allow ads. Okay. Freaking alone for 5 seconds, please. Boston.com. Just let me go to the site. Segment talking about Boston City Councilor Ricardo Arroyo's plan to formally present a proposal to outlaw the small alcohol bottles, which often end up littered. Co-host Courtney Cox suggested that the show's participants rank their top 5 favorite nips. I bet you the editor squabbled over that. Oh, yes, that's a great topic, said Hill. He and Cox immediately mentioned a couple of brands. As they were talking, Curtis interjected, "Oh, I'd probably go Mina Kimes." Kimes is a high-profile ESPN personality and NFL analyst who is of Korean descent on his mother's side. Nip is an ethnic slur that targets Japanese people, an abbreviation of Nippon, the Japanese name for Japan. The slur gained prominence in World War II. Hill Coxon and fellow co-host Jermaine Wiggins did not respond to Curtis and continued with the conversation. After his comment, Curtis glanced at producer Chris Scheim, who was laughing.
Okay, so this other person is laughing. They should fire both of them.
A spokesperson for Odyssey, EEI's parent company, said the company had no comment, but suggested that Curtis meant to say actress Mila Kunis's name rather than Kimes. Oh, I thought they said they had no comment. Who did that? Jesus, guys. On Wednesday. No comment,
but
but between you and I, and then Finn probably said, yeah, sure.
Or they said off the record, not really.
Profile to an image of Mila Kunis, which is funny. Curtis, who has been at EEI since April 2013, did not immediately respond to requests for comments. Yeah, he will not be. Nor did Mike Thomas, Odyssey Senior Vice President and Market Manager in Boston, or EEI Operations Manager Ken Laird. Ooh. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so you it's funny. He didn't say a slur. Well, I guess he didn't say a slur. It's right. One of the comments says Curtis didn't say a slur. He didn't say a slur.
That's
inserted
true.
Mina Kimes into.
Somebody else said something that could be a slur or could be not a slur, and he said she was one.
Yeah.
And she's not a small bottle of alcohol, so it's hard to kind of go from there. Trish in the chat says in Iowa they call them shooters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that makes sense. Although you wouldn't necessarily always.
And also in the chat, and I've heard actually a few people say this on Twitter that they've never heard of that as an ethnic slur.
Oh, the New York Post has it. Deadspin has it.
Well, everybody's gonna have it now, yeah.
Mass Live, Sports Illustrated. There we go. There we go. Jesus, Curtis, come on, man. Although the thing is, in headlines, like the headlines are like WEI producer appears. Oh, you can good appears to use ethnic slur about. Well, there you go. Man, that is tough. That is tough.
It just seems like such an avoidable one, though.
Yes.
It's not like the Maz one to me at all. Do you know what I mean? Like that's.
Yeah, Maz did nothing wrong.
But seems just like it just seems like you have such a conscious choice. Like you can just do boring radio and list your 5 favorite types of alcohol to drink from tiny bottles, and like there's no reason to drag people of Asian descent into it at all.
No.
It's just it seems like such a wild choice to make in the moment. Like why you would ever do that. It's like completely unnecessary. Especially in like today's environment, and in particular like the Boston sports media environment, it seems like just a bizarre thing to do. Like you said, it feels like suicide vest-ish.
Oh man. Okay, what else should we talk about, Alice? Oh, let me tell you about my I have not I went down in something, but I essentially stayed level for weight wise.
Okay.
And I think that has to do largely with the 67 tacos I've had in 2 days. And
yeah, I was gonna say I'm surprised that you even stayed mostly level.
I know, so am I. And also our St. Patrick's Day celebration with the neighbors, which brought in Guinness, Bailey's, and whiskey, which was because I'm a child emotionally, and so that's why I couldn't say we had to do that. So there you go. So, but then again, once it gets warmer too, I'll get a little more. I really want to hit 100 pounds. I'm just about at 80 now, but I really want to hit 100 pounds. Like that was a commitment, and so I'll try to get back on the horse. But it's I feel
like you've been sort of doing not that great a job for long enough that if you really buckle down, it'll just like fly off again.
No, I think so too. I hit, I mean, part of the problem with part of the challenge, I'll say, is that I missed it's not always just taste. I missed the texture of a taco and what it does when you chew a hard shell taco and break the taco shell and the soft sections. It's such a texture thing. I missed that. I needed that hit, and I got that hit, and I'm satisfied now. So I won't like cheat with tacos again. But that's the same thing with that, like with drinking Guinness. I missed the taste of beer. So I missed some of these things. So it's like so I've had these odd relapses. But there's some things that I obviously missed that I haven't messed around with. Like I've still essentially have stayed away from pasta the way Tom Shattuck can do pasta. But it does get a little does still get a little difficult. Alice, I don't know if Colleen is responsible for this one, but we've got another bit of good news. Yes, sir. The password to the computer, James, is he asking you? It is. Hang on.
Hopefully our listeners can't read lips, honey. As Tom gives out the passwords to our computers.
Yeah, it's on the. So James, it's the dog and the lake. Okay. We'll see how that goes. Let me bring it up to me. Can I mean, this is important. With the new computer that Tommy got or put together and got, they want me to. My brother and my son are trying to get me to download Steam on that one so that I can play a game with them, kind of like a first-person shooter against them. They both have Windows machines, so that's what's going on.
And our daughter's asking to go to the food mart.
Oh, she is right now?
She just texted.
Well, she's already out and about in the streets. What? I think this is a cover. So good about Am I on the text?
I don't know. I just saw it pop up on my computer.
Well, where did she ask us? Did she text me?
I don't know. I just saw the text pop up to me. I didn't see if you were on it or not.
Because I don't have it. Then why did you get it?
I guess she sent it just to me, I guess.
Oh, well, I mean.
I'll say yes.
Olivia right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she's already. You know what that is, Alice? That's a cover. That's creating a distraction because she's already asked me permission to go ride her bike with friends where she is. So obviously she could go to the food market or the food market, we'll say. I think that she's buying time. She's testing the waters. She's trying to pepper requests between you and me. That way, because you haven't given her a yes today, I've already given her one yes. So this is classic manipulation happening. I respect it. Believe me.
So Stanford is still dealing with the fallout from this Judge Kyle Duncan thing. They've placed Tyrion Stein back on leave, the diversity associate dean of diversity who lectured everybody on it. They have said they're not gonna... What's that?
I love that. I love it. I can't believe it. That is a watershed moment, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good that they did. They're not going to be punishing the students because they're saying that basically that Tyrion Steinbeck, the administration, quote unquote, gave mixed messages for what was allowed to the students. So that means the students can't then be held accountable, I guess. So, but some people like Ted Cruz and other people are saying that state bar associations should investigate these kids and like hold up their license to practice law. But basically they're gonna all the students are, it's I guess the opposite of diversity training, like for free speech training for lawyers, which you would think they would already kind of have at Stanford Law, which is like the second top law school in the country or whatever. But they're gonna educate them on and it says, instead, the law school will require all students to attend a training on freedom of speech and the norms of the legal profession, which will discuss, among other things, how vulgar personal insults can harm students' professional reputations.
Oh, my goodness.
The warning appears to be in reference to protesters who hurled sexual invective at Duncan. And one allegedly telling him, "We hope your daughters get raped." So they've been, working on this.
Is that in bad taste?
But you would think, how do these people, law students are adults. These aren't like teenagers, they've already been through at least college. So they're all like at least in their mid-20s. Some are older than that, and the idea that they don't understand that the norms of the legal profession, which is like the most buttoned up profession on the earth, right up there with like bankers, probably more so than like finance bros or whatever. It's a very, very rigidly formal profession. The idea that they need to be educated on the fact that hurling vulgar personal insults at judges, at sitting federal judges, violates the norms of the legal profession and could hurt their professional reputations seems astonishing to me. It seems absolutely crazy because these students are going to have like interviews at big law firms where some of them, like women aren't even allowed to wear pantsuits. That's like too edgy.
Right.
It has to be like skirt suits. It's considered like not professional enough to wear a pantsuit. So, I mean, we're talking the idea that then you can scream at a judge, "We hope your daughters get raped," and that's like fine within the norms of the profession. You would think they would need to be told that, but the whole thing is so incredible. They should be punished. Hopefully the bar associations do investigate them. And I think that that they should be held accountable. I don't care if the stupid dean sent them a mixed message. But she essentially said in her memo, this Jenny Martinez, who's the dean of the law school, she spent several pages explaining to the students at Stanford, the second-ranked law school in the country, why the Constitution does not protect disruptive heckling. to preserve the countervailing interest in free speech, noting that Leonard Law, California state statute, applies aspects of the First Amendment to private universities. It does not treat every setting as a public forum where a speech free-for-all is allowed. But, it's incredible that this got this far. I think the students should be punished. It's good that the stupid dean, at least, is being held somewhat accountable for her role in escalating the entire thing. But thank goodness. Anyway,
I think it's wonderful. And if this is this is the new trend here, where these schools start saying enough of this crap, then it's about time. It's about time. What are we there was a time when, and I know I've mentioned it before, when, there were a few people who were behaved badly and were rewarded for it. And I always go back to Puck from the Real World 2 or whatever. And now everybody's Puck from the Real World 2. They're all rude a-holes. And if you're in Stanford Law, you've got life pretty good. And to be miserable pricks because some judge isn't nice to pedophiles who want to rape women in prison, well, then F you.
Mm-hmm.
I've got no problem with it. I used to Google people before we hired them all the time and look for stuff. And I used to flag people all the time. It's looking at their timelines. I'm all for it. And I'm all for that. I wouldn't ever hire one of these idiots. Ever.
Right.
Because they're self-centered and the eyes are not on the prize with these people. This is all about navel gazing. And screw that. You need good soldiers. This is I'm thrilled that this dean was waxed.
That's great. Speaking of top law schools, everybody's pretending that DeSantis, who went to Yale University and Harvard Law, was being serious when he told Piers Morgan he doesn't know how to spell Ron DeSanctimonious.
I saw that.
So Maggie Haberman wrote it up, and the Daily Beast wrote it up. Yale grad DeSantis says he can't spell Trump's nickname for him.
I don't know what to do with these.
I don't know how to spell the sanctimonious one, said DeSantis, who graduated from Yale University and Harvard Law School. I don't really know what it means, but I kind of like it. It's long. It's got a lot of vowels. We'll go with that. That's fine. I mean, you can call me whatever you want, just as long as you also call me a winner. Clearly, it's serious. He's serious, and he can't spell DeSanctimonious, honey. That's the problem.
I know. I mean...
But I can't believe they're all seriously writing. It reminds me of the one... a while ago in one of the hit pieces on him, they interviewed somebody who talked to one of his ex-girlfriends or something and said that he pronounced Thai food thigh food.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And then he was like, he would be, he wasn't overly sociable like with staff. He wasn't playful in eating the pudding. What they're doing is Haberman showing us here that indeed the national hysteria over Trump, all of that anxiety is transferable to DeSantis. And it's already starting. The people who are, and they're working themselves up into a tizzy. Same people who are saying, oh my God, I'm now that Trump's president, me and my boyfriend, gay guys were telling me they and their boyfriends were going to be thrown into prison now, are now seriously saying, he says, don't say gay. He's going to do that federally. You can't even say it anymore. And once again, that thing that we played the other day, the letter we read by my guy there, what was his name, saying they're recriminalizing gayness. I told my dad that this stops here. That is how the left is going to be. They're all that guy now.
Well, yeah, and they're doing that. There's this doesn't even have to do with DeSantis, but some legislator in Florida introduced a bill that there shouldn't be sex ed in school until 6th grade, which seems like not that wild a position. I mean, like it's arguable, but anyway. So you know what they're going with?
No.
Florida's making it illegal for girls under 6th grade to talk about their periods.
Well, here we go. But
DeSantis is going to be throwing little 11-year-olds in jail for having their periods, Tom. That's what's happening in Florida.
But why are they doing it to themselves? Why do they want to?
I don't know.
Seriously, it's like, why do they want to be upset and victimized? Is it all just wanting to be melodramatic queens on a fainting couch? Is that what this is? Is it more fun to live? And I knew a bunch of people when Trump was elected who acted like this, acted like they were put upon. They were inventing fake hate crimes around them. And
do you remember the news article about the people building like secret rooms in their house where they could hide people like Anne Frank?
Yes.
I mean, just like bizarro behavior from people.
And you got this stuff. This is going to happen, and this is going to create, because they're going to be absolutely there. And the projection is incredible, because they're going to say that the people on the right are the people who've gone nuts. Meanwhile, they've gone nuts. They're going to use their media to distort reality, and then when they do that to bully and win elections, etc., when the other half reacts to it, a la January 6th, because they've never been allowed to blow off steam because they've always been pushed around and called horrible names, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to say, "Oh my goodness, look at, they're all terrorists again." And then we're going to seriously, we just have two countries where one half of the country has the vapors and is over emotional, and the other half is pissed off because they've been stepped on again and again. And that's like the new us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the national divorce idea like works for a variety of reasons. One being that we're not like regionally separated enough. We're like too purple and mixed together for the most part.
Well, I mean, you can go from New England and go right down through New York and New Jersey, right? I mean, the whole head of the running horse that is this country is progressive.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, there's plenty of conservatives in those places too. Maybe fewer, but at least for the moment, we're still too mixed together. The second reason I don't think you can is that, if you think the other side is Hitler, then being in a country next door to them is not enough.
Well, I guess so.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't, if you are saying, say the free state of whatever, Florida, Texas breaks off and becomes its own country, right? Like,
right.
If you think that country is literally 1930s Nazi Germany come to life again, then you can't coexist with it next to you even, right?
Well,
isn't that the lesson of World War II?
Well, maybe, but I think people like living where they are because they've got nice houses.
No, but what I'm saying is that, like, I don't think it's enough for the left. Like, part of the problem with them is they cannot. If you cast your enemies as literal Nazis, then you can't leave them alone to live their lives in freedom, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So it won't be enough for them if DeSantis does it in Florida or whatever, and that Florida's its own country and it doesn't affect them. They need to be able to control what happens in Florida too. Like, look at the hockey players being forced to wear the pride jerseys, or they get yelled at by everybody.
Yeah, but I think that they believe that they're Nazis, but they actually also don't believe it. They're still not going to alter their lives. And actually, many people in Germany didn't alter their lives. They're just like, as long as they get inflation down, so I don't have to have a wheelbarrow full of Deutschmarks, then whatever.
But I don't think the left is content to like live and let live. I don't think if they have their left country.
What? Not make your bed back there.
What?
Did you not make your bed back there?
No.
Jordan Peterson would not be happy with you.
I didn't let the housekeeping come back either because they didn't bring me any new coffee or anything yesterday.
Oh, you're at war.
Plus, I had stuff to do, so I didn't want to.
What are you going to do today? It's early there today. It's only 3 o'clock.
Oh, I'm jet lagged though and stuff. I'm
It's raining, right? Use a pool.
I don't know if I can. It's been raining on and off. I don't know if we can.
Oh, that stinks.
We'll look into it, but I don't know. But yeah, we'll get the show
Got a
up.
couple of
We'll do some stuff. Is what?
We've got a couple of chat messages. Not too many.
Okay.
Can we try them?
Let's go for it.
Is there anything about the chat anybody should know?
It is brought to us by Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce. Hence, it is the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline chat. Chelsea Fire Hot Sauce is a delicious hot sauce that has both flavor and heat. You do not have to sacrifice one or the other, like with some hot sauces. Tom uses it to doctor up all his Awaken 180 food because he loves it. And
yeah, I have some today, and I've got avocados, and I'm gonna pour the hot sauce right in there.
And you can be doing good while you eat it too, because they donate 5% of the proceeds to the Fallen Firefighters Foundation. So win-win. Find it at Market Basket or Big Y or at chelseafirehotsauce.com.
Hey Tom, if you can give me a list of words I cannot say on the chat, that'd be swell. I don't want to be petty. Yeah, nope.
Yeah, don't say Mina Kimes. Don't mention her regardless, just in case something else has been said. You know what? I don't think it's funny, Alice. I've been dumped before by my producer for my radio show for saying stuff that isn't even. It's not even a swear, but that makes them nervous. They're afraid they're getting in trouble. I don't even swear, but I've said a couple of things, but I've never to this point. I would never.
Yeah, what was it? You had one that surprised you that they dumped.
Yeah, it was recently.
Not dumped like broke up with. Dumped like dumped off the air.
Right, dumped. Yeah, or dumped out of the delay. I forgot what it was. What was it? It was just the last week too. Because the word sounds dirty, but unless you know it, it's not. I don't know. I forget it.
I forget what it was too.
Try to remember, but it didn't have to be dumped. But people, you have a hair trigger, and also, by the way, that board op, Curtis, that board op also could have cut that. And although they were streaming live in the video, then actually Curtis would have had to tell him if he wasn't listening. Of course, he wasn't listening. Oh, what a mess! What a mess! This is Carrie from Winchester's husband. Alice, remember Carrie, right?
Save the babies with the formula.
That's right.
Hey, Alice. Carrie from Winchester's husband here.
Hi.
I get something that's bugging me that I need to get your take on.
Okay.
And I know you're not necessarily anti-vaccine per se, but why is it that the vaccine pharmaceutical companies are able to get immunity from lawsuits and that sort of thing, but yet can still advertise? Why am I watching the Bruins game and getting loaded up with advertisements on getting boosted? It doesn't make sense. It seems like it should be one or the other.
Yeah.
And at this point, there should be some sort of separation of the two. What do you have any thoughts on that?
I do think it's weird, and I think it's something that's kind of internationally an anomaly. Like we're one of the only countries. I forget what. You know what it was? It was when Harry and Meghan were interviewed by Oprah, and the stream had all these ads in it, and all these British people were going like, this is so dystopian, because they're not allowed to advertise any pharmaceuticals there, and like half of the TV advertising that you see is like all pharmaceuticals,
which is the thing.
ED drugs, psych medications, skin drugs,
which
like
the thing new to the late 90s. Didn't used to be.
Yeah. So, but I think there's sort of this weird like, and it's something, I mean, somebody said, and I cannot verify this, but I think the thing where and this is right. I just looked this up, but but I was hearing this because there was a debate on Twitter about like Reagan being a good president or a bad president. And the vaccine manufacturers not having liability is something that dates from Reagan. So in 86, he passed the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. So I do think this is a place where, like, historically Republicans have been sort of the corporatist party.
Interesting.
And, you know, so what they're saying, the purpose is to eliminate the financial liability of vaccine manufacturers to include a stable market supply of vaccines and provide cost-effective arbitration for vaccine injury claims. So it's created to provide a federal no-fault system for compensating vaccine-related injuries or deaths, because it's considered like a matter of national interest to have like a steady supply of vaccines available to the population, right? And if the vaccine manufacturers are at risk of being sued, like instead this sort of creates a way for people to be compensated without them admitting fault and like creating a precedent. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, Alice.
But I do think it's interesting because it is a place, and I like remember having this conversation because, you know, when I was a kid, it was always the people who were like against getting vaccines and stuff were always like crunchy lefties.
Right.
You notice that? So, and like that's where the measles outbreaks have been in like California, and like there's always been places there with like high rates of of vaccine avoidance or whatever for kids. And it's really, there's been and this has been happening. This is sort of a switch that's been happening for a while, where more of this like trad natural thing has become more of a right-wing populist cause. And even like, if you remember, Rod Dreher had that book, Crunchy Conservatives, Crunchy Cons, back like maybe 20 years ago or something, a while ago, about how there was this movement on the right towards like being more natural and at one with nature. And I think that's a big part of the populist right, for sure, as well as being much more skeptical of big corporations and stuff. Whereas, I mean, as you know, the Republican Party it's always been sort of the corporate party.
Yeah.
And I think there's a big switch on that happening when you look at everything from the pharmaceutical companies to, you know, big tech companies to all these things. I think there's a definite movement towards more of a populist view on the right, and that's been the vaccine stuff in particular with COVID has made some very strange bedfellows, even just among people that I know who like are vaccine skeptical people in general and like didn't get their kids other vaccines but have like always voted left. And many of them were very surprised. I remember reading a blog post from people who were like very surprised that Sonia Sotomayor was so on board with the vaccine mandates, because they were saying like, oh, she's always been like, you know, anti-corporatist and all this stuff. And you know, it's a lot of the same people who are worried about like Monsanto and bioengineered foods and stuff, which have always been much more like kind of left-wing causes that that are in a lot of ways worried about this. So I've definitely seen some weird aisle crossing happening with that stuff. Why are you laughing?
That is very thorough fan service, Alice. Your constituent services up there. Essentially, Kerry from Winchester's husband got his own segment there.
Well, see, if you have questions, I'll talk about anything. Call up with a topic, and I'm gonna just take it.
Good, because she reads stuff in any minutia, and she saves it all in her head. I haven't learned anything since 1981. By the way, how do you like that? The matriarchy, Kerry from Winchester's husband. He's poor guy's just a pronoun. Is husband a pronoun or a noun? I guess it's a noun, right?
It's a noun, yeah.
My goodness, Kerry. Dominating. Of course, Kerry from Winchester, Kerry, was my first girlfriend. Kerry Oliver, remember, Alice, lived right up near the hospital. Did we talk about this?
No, but that's not the same Kerry from Winchester, right?
That's not the same. No, it's a different Kerry. My Kerry, our relationship lasted just for a span of time. I think.
But did we decide that this Kerry knows your brother's ex-girlfriend?
Yes, she does.
Okay, we did. She does. Small world. Small world.
Oh, that is excellent. Alice, guess what? What I'm going to do that's going to bring joy to your little heart?
Play the exit music? Are you playing it?
Yeah, you hear it, don't you?
I didn't really, but that's okay. So if you want to
now, I thought you would be hearing it because I changed the settings. Huh. Who knew?
It's coming in and out a little now. But anyway, if you want me to talk on the topic of your choice, just leave a chat message. That's at burnbarrelpodcast.com. You can also find all different places to listen there. If you want to join live streams where there's live chat, come to patreon.com/burnbarrel. But as always, you can find the show free wherever you like to listen to podcasts.